Hello, this is Jordan, and this is your weekly recap video. This is being recorded on the afternoon of Friday, May 12th, 2023. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you all had a great week. Tough week for gold and the precious metals. They had been holding up really, really well, definitely in a correction, and so we finally got a bearish reversal this week. It doesn't look too bad on the gold chart, but definitely on the silver chart and the minor charts. I mean, we'll get to those. But looking here at the daily charts for gold and silver, the daily candle charts. And so I've talked about in past videos how looking at fledgling or early bull or how gold performs early in a new bull market, when it corrects, where does it typically come back to during those corrections? Well, it tends to be the 50-day, 100-day, or the 150-day moving average. When the market is really, really hot and it's running, it comes back to the 50-day. Gold is still above the 50-day, which is at 1980 right now. That's the first level of support. But I think given the selling that we've seen in silver in the stocks, as well as you got a short-term bottom in the U.S. dollar index, the very recent action in those three markets tells us that more likely than not, gold is probably going to correct below the 50-day moving average. It would be really surprising if it bounced off the 50-day and really exploded. So the circle there for gold, that is the 100-day moving average. And then the 150-day, I've drawn a line there. It's currently at 1858. I project that to reach 1900 sometime in the month of June. So we're already in the middle of May now. So those are potential corrective levels to keep an eye on. Potentially next month, 1900. That's also a support level when you're looking laterally. So if you have the 150-day coming in, that just it adds more strength to that support. So, and then the circle, I don't know if I already mentioned it, but the circle for the 100-day, that's at 1925 right now. That probably reaches 1950, I would guess, in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So those are the levels that we're looking at. But even with the reversal, gold still has not broken 1980. So that's what we're looking at. Potentially, eventually 1900. But if gold slices through 1980 next week, look for 1950 to be the first line of support. Now, looking at silver, so we got this big move in the dollar. The gold-silver ratio at certain times it tends to follow the dollar, and this looks like one of those times. And so you had a big move in the gold-silver ratio. But it was at 77, 78 for a little while. Now it's back up to almost 84. So looking at silver, again, the sell-off this week. Just look at the daily candles there. You can see it, particularly Thursday, much uglier in silver. Silver slices through 2450 yesterday and today, Friday. So looking at silver, if you go back and look at historical charts, you can see, well, not historical, but, call it the last 2, 3, 4 years or so, maybe even 10 years. You can see 22 is a very significant level. I mean, it has been in recent years. So again, that's significant. Now you have the 200-day at 2184 and sloping higher. So that to me seems like a potential target for silver over the next 2, 3, 4 weeks or so, that it could come down and test that 22 area, which again, that should be really strong support in a short-term sense. So that's the look at gold and silver. Now moving into the stocks. So GDX, on the weekly chart, you see a double top, but this is the daily chart here. I know it's a little messy with the moving averages, and so we have GDX at the top. I'm going to focus mostly on that, and so we have the 200-day, which is at 28, the 400-day, which is at 30. The 200-day is picking up, so that will probably reach 30, go above the 400-day at some point in the next month or two. And then if we're just looking laterally, the first level is 31 and then around 30. So around 30, you have that strong confluence of support. So that's about 10% below where we are. Maybe that aligns with silver going down to 22. So those are the key levels I'm looking at. I mean, GDX hasn't broken 33 yet, but I think that's going to happen, especially if we see gold breaking below 1980. That'll pull GDX below 33, or GDX will fall below that support first. Now, looking at GDXJ and SILJ, I apologize. I should have had the 200-day moving averages in there. I forgot to change it. But looking at the levels for GDXJ, so it's already corrected from 44 down to close right about 40, a couple pennies below it. We'll round it up. But looking at the lateral support levels for GDX, you have around 37. That's the first one. And then, call it 35.50 or so. I'm guessing that the 200-day is probably 34, 35-ish. So that's a level, that could be the confluence of support, the 200-day, along with that lower line, again, which is around 35.50. And so a decline there would be a little bit more than 10%. We mentioned potentially 10% for GDX. So GDXJ, you would anticipate that it would decline, 12, 13% in that scenario. Now, SILJ, the silver stocks have been really lagging recently. I mean, just look at the 50-day moving averages. You can see GDXJ has not broken below the 50-day yet. SILJ is already below the 50-day by, I'm eyeballing it by about 4 or 5% already. Now, looking at SILJ, there is some support around 10, the very low 10s, so that would be the first level. But then you have the February-March bottom around, call it 920, 925, so that's a level of support. Again, the silver stocks have been lagging recently, and now we see gold outperforming silver. And, if the market is going to continue to correct, if it's going to be in more of a severe short-term correction over the coming weeks than it has been, you would expect silver to underperform gold. And at the same time, the silver stocks are going to underperform the gold stocks. So that's where we are. Tough week. Very big picture, of course, still bullish. A lot more coming in the premium update this weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.